Hey, welcome back, Rankers, coming to you from St. Petersburg in Russia. And I've just been at this awesome conference with 40 different SEO, PPC experts from around the world. And we've been talking about the Semrush product. Semrush put this conference together where they're trying to improve their software, trying to help SEOs understand it more. Some might call it a junket. But it's a really good idea. They're really smart in doing this because they're getting feedback from their customers to try to make their product better. Anyway, we've talked about that before. One of the elements of the product or areas of the product is the thing they call sensor, and it's about detecting an algorithm change. And one of the questions that they had us in round tables for, and they sat us all down and went through these things, was to ask about, how do you find, what do you use, how do you know that there's been an algorithm change? And there was a variety of answers, but for the most part, and the people that I was on the table with, green team, go green team, we tend to wait and see what happens to rankings or traffic. And I think, apart from any other announcement, I've never sort of been one to go and look at the sort of Mozcast, all those sort of weather things that are out there, and for us, we detected a change that happened in 2012. I think it might have just been in not in every database, but certainly in the Australian database. That certainly none of the predictions or temperature things detected. But sometimes what we find is that the changes can be different across different categories, across different silos or different verticals or whatever you want to call it. So I'll give you, for instance, for that. You might see a change, like we had Fred update, right? None of our clients, and Fred was probably, as Kim, who we've spoken to before on the show, pointed out in his conversation with Gary Elias, is that sometimes that might be multiple updates, but the broad wide world is only seeing it as one because it's all clustered around a certain date. And certainly with the whole March 9 update, that was the case, right? So we saw that one site that we had that we looked at, and it wasn't one of our clients, and none of our clients actually got hit by it. We had some retailers that were more affected by the February update. And that was because it was kind of like a quality update back in February. And for the retailers that had a slight downturn in traffic back then, it turns out it was from quality related issues. And I'm talking about things like, and this is for the retailers anyway, things like near duplication of content, or lack of faceted navigation, or having copy too far up the fold, which is different for a blogger, right? A blogger needs its copy above the fold, but for a retail site, the user's trying to reach the product information, not your blurb about your product category or whatever it might be. We provide the best, blah, blah. No, give me the product information now. So for different categories, these changes seem to affect them differently. And we don't do too much, or we don't go into too much of algorithm tea leaf reading or anything like that, because, as Dan Thies, I stole that from Dan, sorry Dan, because really at the end of the day, it's about what's the effect that you can have on that site right now, and how can you, if you've been hit by rankings, and as you know, over the years, for the most part, when an algorithm update happens, for us, the rankings have always gone up because typically they've been backlink updates, they've been penguin updates, right? So, and because we don't, speaking of which, we had a few interesting conversations at this conference. It was good fun. But, there was quite a few people that are into backlinks, obviously, which is fine. And I don't have a problem with that. I only have a problem with it if it's my clients, and if someone is doing backlink spam and they're above my client, then I'm going to do everything I can to get my client above them. Right? Stands to reason. But some of the conversations that we had, and there was Jono, this bloke here, we were talking about brand together and how brand is we think that is the thing. And basically, it's not that you don't need backlinks. No one's saying that. Google talks about popularity though, right? So if you can be popular, you might get some backlinks from that. And I've shown you the example when I tweeted Trump back in, I think it was January, and I showed you the spike in traffic from the Google bot that we got, because we also got a spike in traffic. We got, I don't know, 50, 100 tweets or retweets and that sort of stuff. And that was from purely tweeting Trump early hours in the morning when he was, I don't even know what he was saying. But we got a spike from the Google bot on that date. And I did a show on that. And, I did a show, I think it was last year, on this graphic as well, which, basically just shows that, we've got a mirror image here. We've got increased crawl bot activity on the same day that we also have a spike in direct traffic. So, and that's what we're talking about with backlinks. Yes, you need them, but if you're focusing on that, you're leaving a lot of money on the table because you're not focused on building your audience, building your brand, getting more traffic in, get more people talking about you. And remember, when you do that, also your brand search increases. So have a think about that. Who's Google going to send someone to? Who's Google going to put on top if everything is equal? But for this one product, let's just say it's a Canon DSLR 7D Mark II. Which one does Google put on top if everything else is equal? If the backlinks are equal and if the pages are equally weighted, where's it going to get it? Surely the brand search. If more people are searching for that brand of that retailer, that's social proof, right? Anyway, that's our theory. So when you are looking at your site and you see something happen, just remember that it could just be for the category that you are in with the Google bot. It doesn't necessarily mean it's affecting every site. Or just because you hear about a Google update that is like, say, Fred, doesn't mean that it is affecting everyone's sites. It didn't affect any of our client sites, that one. So the updates can affect different categories and verticals differently. And that's about it. But look, I had a wonderful time here. And thank you so much, Olga, and the rest of the team at Semrush. Geez, they did a really good job, and it was a lot of fun. And it doesn't get dark here at this time of year. It's like, midnight, feels like dusk. So we're off to Portugal next week, and that's where the show will be coming from. Thanks very much. I'll see you next week.